Hello, thanks for coming to my channel. I am so excited to do a walkthrough of this sewing box. I am using one stitch at a time from Country Craft Creations, and I'll show you the box here in a second. I do not sew very much at all. I have a sewing machine and I have a little bit, some sewing supplies. But I made this box to hold the very limited amount of supplies that I have. And so this works for me. If you decide to make one, you might want to adjust it a little bit, but I'm going to do a little walkthrough for you, and then you can wait. I'll be making a tutorial. I might end up changing the measurements a little bit because I used an 8-inch paper pad instead of 12, and my box was about 8.5. So you can see here that I had to add strips of paper as a way to make it longer. And I did mat everything on a light blue artisan cardstock, so that kind of helped with the size difference. But if I make the measurements different, or if you use a 12 by 12, then I guess it'll be fine. So anyway, this box, the way it is 8.5 wide, and it is 6.5 tall, and deep. How deep is it? About 8 inches deep. Okay, so I hope you'll be able to see everything. It's kind of hard to show, but this box is one of those, you've seen these before. Let me see if I can you see this in the camera? Yeah. This is one of those boxes that reminds me of an old-time desk, that opens, but instead of opening down this way, it opens up this way. There's probably a name for it, but I can't think of what it is. So I just used the stash, some of the things I had in my stash. I had some buttons and that matched the paper, so I put those in the corner just randomly to go with the theme. I had some Scrabble tiles, so I wrote out the word sewing, and I do have the flat back pearls that I got from the Country Craft Creations as accent pieces. I added it on the bust of the dress form and as the buttons. I have, this was in my stash. It was just a pearl. It's kind of flimsy, so it's a good thing you don't use that as a knob, but I thought it was pretty with the paper. I had a Tim Holtz, I think it's Tim Holtz, ruler that I put back here because I thought that went with the theme. I had a blue doily that matched perfectly and just cut that to fit on top of that ruler. I have a little doily here behind this. I popped this up on the foam tape, or the foam squares. What else do I have? This little spool was actually a charm, and I took off the metal piece and just put that like it's on the bobbin, or not the bobbin, just the thread of the machine. And then I looked all over for thread to match this color, and I didn't have it. So for right now, I just have a pink marker to make it look like that thread is going over, but I will probably have to find some thread and glue that on top of there. Buttons down here also with the charms that I had with the thread. It also came with scissors and a safety pin. So I took the charm, or the piece off of the end, and just made it regular scissors and a safety pin without the charm, that little loop thing. Okay. So there's the outside. It does close with a bow tie here. This is the chiffon lace or ribbon from the store that comes in different colors. So this one this was one of the signature pages. It had the sewing machine in the dress form. I had to kind of piece this one together because my paper wasn't wide enough, the stuff that I had left over. So I had a little piece of it and a larger piece. So I just did some fussy cutting so I could have the thimbles on both sides here. So the side here, this is the paper I chose. The back is the same as the front. Buttons right here. The bottom, I just put the light. Oh, that was stupid. I just tipped everything over. So let's see what happened on the inside. Oh my gosh, everything stayed the way it was supposed to. Oh, all but one thing. And I'm going to fix that right now. Okay, so when you open it, that's the paper that I selected. Let me get this out of the way. So let me check here. Okay, so the first thing is I have this little tray, and that comes out, and it's just because the box was higher than what I stored some thread down here at the bottom, but I still had plenty of room that I didn't want to waste. So I made this little tray, and it's just right now holding some bobbins and some things for my sewing machine. But I put 2 buttons on the side here so that when I put the tray in, it doesn't fall all the way through. and it knows where to stop, so it keeps it level. Okay, so just 2 pink buttons on the side. I did use the measuring tape paper on the back. So here's what I did. I took, I have thread on these little dowels that I glued. So I made a little box here out of foam, and then I wrapped it with paper, and then I cut the dowel so it, you know, like the shish kebab skewers, those things. I think they're from the Dollar Tree. I just cut them so that the sharp end was there, and then I poked a hole and then put glue on those little dowels or those skewers and poked them in, and that's what's holding my thread. So like I said, I don't sew very much, so I didn't need very many. So I have 5. I could actually add some smaller ones in front of it to add the corresponding bobbin, and I might do that. I'm not sure yet. So because they're glued, they're pretty sturdy, and you just put the thread just like so. Okay, and then I did 5 more on this side. In the center here, there was nothing glued on here, so I have some fabric glue that I just laid down like so. And then this, like I said, you just put it in and it knows where to stop. So you can't put anything too heavy right here, just because it's not real strong with those buttons. And then you just close this up, give it a tie. Now, when I do the tutorial, I did not record while I was making this. So if you see this video, before I do the tutorial, will you tell me, I'm just kind of curious, do you want me to give the tutorial using this size, which you would probably want to use a 12 by 12 paper collection, because it's 8.5 wide, and she has the 8 by 8 papers, which is what I use, but I had to do paper piecing. I still had plenty left over, so it's doable. Or would you rather I size it down so that the 8 by 8 works perfectly? So just let me know, but I like the way it looks. I like what it stores. I like the shape. I guess I like everything. So, all right, well, stay tuned. I'm going to do the tutorial, but you need to let me know what size you want to make it. Either keep it this way or make it a little bit smaller. All right, this is 1 stitch at a time. You can get it from Country Craft Creations. All right, we'll see you soon.